Hi. Hi. I come to you, a broken and sad woman, as I filmed a book review like 3 months ago at this point, and then was like, everything's fine. And then as I slowly began to try and edit it, I realized I hated everything I did about it. So I'm reshooting it with parts from that original video stitched in here because I don't know what I originally said, because I don't script these, and I just wanted to didn't want all of that work to go to waste. So, yeah. Today, we're talking about Secrets of My Hollywood Life by Jen Catalonia. Yeah. So I finished the Alpha series, and sometime in the coming year, I've decided for 2022, I believe there are 12 books, so I'm going to read and review one of the Click books for 2022. That's going to be my project. But in between that and Bachelor content and whatever else I can figure out how to put out, isn't it nice to talk about a book that you like? Isn't reading supposed to be fun and not like some kind of trivial game, some kind of punishment for somehow like knowing how to read and being a girl? Isn't it nice? Isn't it lovely? Hold up. I'm so excited to talk about this because, again, I don't know how much of the story I've told, but I used to work book fairs. Wasn't because I wasn't poor. We were very financially conscious. So, you know, wherever you could get a deal, babes. And I was good at reading chapter books, and, you know, I loved literacy. Always wanted to be a librarian. And so I worked the book fairs, and I got my book fair points together, and I got a book. And what I actually ended up getting was the sequel to this book, Secrets of My Hollywood Life, on location, because I thought that, you know, I too was a girl. I was a girl in the late 2000s. I wanted a fake Gucci. I want a fake Louis Vuitton. I want a fake Coach bag. This was like, I saw that book cover, which it's out in the other room and I'm mic'd up, so I can't go and get it. But I saw it and I was like, oh, I gotta read that. And then like I read through it and I was like, oh, I need the second one. So then I had all these AR points, and I just happened to come across it like in just like a pile of books that like the library didn't want to have. So I got it, and I never actually read it. I think I skimmed it. By that point, again, I had moved on to reading some other garbage, probably into the Hunger Games. I'd probably switched from reading like teen literary fiction to reading exclusively dystopian novels. But because I had the second book and I had this one, and then for Christmas that year I got the third book and the fourth book because they were relatively cheap. They're $8. And recently I was like, well, even if I don't make a video about it, I want to have them. So I have the full set in physical copies. I was at a used bookstore and I almost bought the last 2 Alpha books that I don't own physical copies of, but I can't do that. Gotta get the content right first. Okay, Jen Catalonia. It's no secret how Jen Catalonia knows the inside scoop on young Hollywood. For 8 years as a senior editor at Teen People and a journalist for Entertainment Weekly, Glamour, and Marie Claire, Jen interviewed everyone from Lindsay Lohan to Ashton Kutcher. She lives in New York with her husband Mike and son Tyler, and their chihuahua Captain Jack Sparrow. Just, again, like I said, this is her debut novel. I love it! I love this book. I would trust her to write books for my children. Lacey Harold writing Monster High books works. I have the Dirty Book Club that I still haven't read, that I'm really excited about. If you like this and you want to see me talk about these books, like as I'm reading them, you can follow me on Instagram because I constantly put out book posts on my story. And sometimes I talk about it on my Twitter. Both are Megan_Blush_. I actually did do a little bit of research before I started reading, and Jen, this is her debut novel, and she hasn't really written anything young adult. Most of her other books have been like middle grade and younger past this book series, but I really like the way she writes. I think it's so much fun having a likable lead character, because I hated the alpha girls. I hated them so much. They were barely tolerable. Whereas our lead, Caitlin, is, as down to earth and as civil and generally kind as a girl who is a teen actress can be. And I think specifically reading this I started reading this the week Britney Spears was finally freed from her conservatorship. It was very poignant hearing a young woman talk about, essentially carrying her family on her back and being the bread maker, the breadwinner, and the bakery that everyone else in the house was working in. Really is interesting. Before teenage girls, we're reading books like this, and you wonder why we all want to be YouTubers, and we want to be the it girl. Okay, so Jen's debut novel. This book came out in, I believe, 2006. May 2007. It's copyright 2006 though, but it's so 2005, 2006. Mind you, I was 7. In 2005 I turned 7. So I was around 8, 9 when these books originally came out, and I didn't read them until 2010, 2012-ish, around that time. I was in middle school, so it would have had to have been past 2012. It would have had to have been between 2009 and 2012, but I loved this book so much. Oh my god. Jen's website, when you read it, if I put it up here, she is our chuggy queen. She is so Gen X millennial, just sweet and a Vera Bradley bag. She reminds me so much of middle school, and she's been updating her blog. That's just how she is. She is the chug queen. Secrets of My Hollywood Life stars Caitlin Burke are Hannah Montana without the Miley Stewart part. She's just an average girl. She's a superstar that everyone knows, but she just longs to be an average girl. Just wants to be a real girl. Forward, scene 1, take 1. We're set up with Caitlin in conflict with her co-star Skylar Sky Mackenzie on the long-running soap Family Affair. Caitlin has been fighting rumors of her being a brat and, starlet, terrible person for, months on end now. Years, really. Our 16-year-old lead. She suspects that the calls are coming from inside the house, Sky. Caitlin is the hot girl. She is the Florence Pugh. She is the Millie Bobby Brown. Lindsay Lohan. She's the Hilary Duff. She is the Amanda Bynes. She is the Rachel McAdams. She is the hot girl. She is apparently the Olivia Rodriguez, and I'm going to put her picture up here. Apparently, she is the hot girl. She is the hot girl of this world. She's most influential teen. She's in the top 25 under 25, all at 16. Caitlyn is ready to beat that bitch's ass. Sky is a provocateur. She's, you know, a girl with no restraint on any of her antics, whereas Caitlyn is really on a very tight leash from her family. They're work. Not a lot of play. Sky is ready to confront Sky. But she's afraid that the paparazzi is gonna see and hear it all. And she's like, I can't do this right now, but I really need a break. At the start of the book, Caitlyn is already A, ready to beat this girl's butt. B, ready to take a break. She does not take breaks. She moves from filming her show, you know, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, doing interviews and all that 7 days a week, flying around in between that. She's, you know, she wants a break. She needs a Brock. All right, so let's run through a bit of the cast, because we're introduced pretty much to a lot of the cast in chapter 1. We learn about Nadine, who is her personal assistant and the big sister type. She's, you know, making sure that everything goes well. Nadine is wicked smart. She went to an Ivy League college and is just raising up enough funds so that she can go back and get a degree in political science so that she can run for president. She's giving very much girl boss, very much Stacy, giving very much Kamala. We love Nadine. We stan Nadine. Nadine's got a head on her shoulders and realizes that her client is overworked and, you know, under-rewarded, but lacks the position of authority to tell Caitlyn's mother that she is burning her daughter out. We get Caitlyn's mom, Meg, who is a complete and utter suckfish, catfish bitch. I dislike her mom every time she opens her mouth. She is so flighty and ridiculous and just absolutely driven when she's not the one doing any of the work. Her mother is a socialite who, you know, the mom from Mean Girls. I'm not like other moms. I'm a cool mom. Gucci tracksuit. She's almost always exclusively in Gucci tracksuits, and it is so frustrating. She's a clout chaser, you know, riding her daughter's rising star in coattails into, you know, the tables, and she uses it to elevate her daughter. But when everything circulates around your daughter like that, you have no space to really see what, you know, what the damage you're doing. You're doing damage. We have Maddie, Caitlyn's younger brother, who is been bit by the acting bug. He wants to be successful and cool like his sister, who is an actress, and he is so determined to get a role somewhere, anywhere, that he is annoying about it. He's always begging to be signed, to be given roles. He is fully, anytime Caitlyn does anything, she's hoping that someone wants a cute kid to hang around. But, you know, I don't like kids in my TV media, so I could do without him ever existing. We get her dad, who is a car dealer, who was a car dealer and is now the producer on her shows and media. He is also a succubus, but is more in that kind of way that, like, dads are just kind of disconnected from what their daughter children need, and thus it's just like, work hard, do good, and it's just very Leave It to Beaver. Like, Caitlyn's having these, like, rich internal monologues, and her dad's just like, you gotta have the stamina to go uphill, kitty cat. It's like, her father is a producer. He only produces projects she's worked on, and that's so that she gets more money, but really it's him being all up in her sauce and not making his own broth. Ugh. Shut up! Oh my god. They are lavishly living on the back of a 16-year-old. Hashtag free Britney. There's gonna be a lot of hashtag free Britneys in here, because fuck that conservative shit. And also, Fuck people who are going to ride their children to safety. Smoky Glow, Hannah from Smoky Glow was studying to be a social worker, and so she talks a lot when she talks about child YouTube channels about how there should be some kind of third-party mediator as far as children as far as children in the entertainment industry. Someone making decisions that isn't the parent and that isn't the child, you know, hearing out both sides and deciding if something is just, fair, or equitable to everyone involved. Because like child YouTubers, of course, if everyone, little Bobby knows that, like, oh, he could say no at any time, but if he says no, rent's not going to get paid, he's not going to say no. Children aren't stupid. So it's just, I'm going to link that down below as well. We have Rodney, her security chauffeur, and again, big brother type. I love Rodney. He's a big teddy bear. He seems very sweet. He has his own dreams of breaking into the acting world, but for the time being, he's just taking care of Caitlyn and making sure she gets from point A to point B safely. He will choke a bitch out, and I appreciate that. We have Lainey, Caitlyn's publicist. She never stops yelling and is an unknowable, unaging beast of the entertainment industry. She will do anything for her clients, but, well, they have to want it bad enough. And I don't love Lainey as a character, but at least she's just doing her job. Like, her parents are bad and exploitative. Lainey's just doing a job to catch that bag. Lastly, last character that really needs to be introduced right now is Trevor. Trevor is their co-star, which the media thinks that the two girls are fighting over. Caitlyn's really not interested in Trevor. She's like friendly with him, but he loves Sky and is too dumb and passive for her. She likes someone with a little bit of bite back. Chapter 1. On the 101. Caitlyn wakes up late after a late night of trying to get the show filmed. You know, children can only work like 16 hours a day, so they got to be really strategic about what they do. She can't be on set by herself, so Nadine is there while her mother was catching Z's and schmoozing with people. She's got a long day of interviews and a photo shoot with Teen Vogue. So next morning after chapter 1, next morning after Caitlyn wakes up from a late shift, she has an interview in which she's doing a photo shoot with Teen Vogue down at the Grove, where she has to talk about all of her favorite clothing. Nadine, and favorite fashion finds and how she shops. Nadine meets up with her in the car to talk about her no talking points for the interview. No talking about Sky, no talking about Trevor. Do talk about the final for the upcoming season of Family Affair. Don't spoil the TV wedding, and don't ramble. And don't talk to these people like they're your friend. They're not your friend. Caitlyn loves to get lost in her own sentences. She's just so busy trying to make sure you understand her that she gives away too much, and in a business filled with secrets and like magicians of how the sausage is made, she keeps giving away the sausage that is Sky being an absolute bitch to work with. Hollywood secret number 2. Everyone, and I mean everyone in Los Angeles, is in the biz. From the studious-looking Chateau Marmot bellhop, who confides that he's secretly writing a screenplay, to the checkout girl at the Bristol Farms supermarket with the 2-inch long fake nails, who asks you how she might break into modeling. It's hard to find anyone who isn't obsessed with the glitz, glamour, and piles of cash Hollywood attracts, including my family. Which she goes into talking about, you know, her parents. Because her mom used to work. Her mom used to be a receptionist. Her dad used to own the car dealership. And, you know, Maddie used to be a fetus. But, like, everyone's riding on the back of Katie. Chapter 2. Schmoozing at Fred Siegel. Caitlyn does the press event at Fred Siegel. She is meant to shop and, you know, look around, buy things, talk about what her favorite item of clothing is. Excuse me, what she likes to buy from certain places. Think complex interviews with sneakerheads, and specifically the one with Bella Hadid. Homie could get it.
Got some Air Maxes out here.
Yeah.
You got some Jordans. Homeboys getting that, like, get it.
They shop around for 3 hours, and some girls at the event spot Caitlyn and want her autograph, and she like willingly gives it to them at the end because she's in work mode right now. The interview engagement ends when the interview presses about the Trevor and Sky situation, and when Caitlyn begins to ramble, Nadine ends the interview by saying that she has a hard out and that she has to go now. I feel like something I haven't specifically said yet is how much Catherine loves, not Catherine, how much Caitlyn loves Star Wars. Also got a candle going now. She is constantly liking things to Han Solo and you know, Death Star, Darth Maul. I mean, when you think about it, whatchamacallits, she would have been 10 when the prequels came out, you know, and when you're a little kid, those movies are good. And probably being written by a woman who's probably a child around the same age when the original movies came out, I think probably doesn't hurt. She's like, you know, Disney adult for Disney adults. Okay, Hollywood secret number 3. Big stars get a lot of free stuff. Small stars get Zippo. Okay, maybe they get a discount or a free handbag now and then, but not often. The secret has no logic. Once you can afford things, free stuff starts showing up at your publicist's office on a daily basis. Mention that you can't live without a certain moisturizer on Live with Regis and Kelly, and they'll ship that box out the next day. Who's currently co-hosting Live with Kelly? It's Ryan Seacrest. It's Ryan and Kelly right now. My God. It was a football player for a while. And then it was like my girls, drunky. Oh my God, there have been so many hosts of Live. Whatever. Chapter 3, A Slice of Heaven. We meet up with Liz, Caitlyn's best friend, at a low-key pizzeria, and it's like this cheesy place in a strip mall, fake Italiano, and they always go there because they can be alone there, and everyone's super conspicuous, and because they love Caitlyn there, they don't, you know, sell her spot out to the paparazzi. The two get a pizza, and Caitlyn starts trying to convince Liz to help her convince her parents to let her go to normal school. If I call it human school, you have to forgive me. My brain is mashed potatoes. I'm gonna call it human school probably, and we're just all gonna have to accept that. Taking the time to go be a regular girl. Regular girl! Ow, my wrist! Ow, my wrist made a popping sound like I broke a bracelet. Ah! She has to convince her manager and her parents to let her take a break from everything. She's exhausted from her job and all the publicity, and she's carrying her family on her back for 12 years. And when I first read this book, and it may, in some of the clips that you'll see, maybe it'll become more clear. I truly hated her parents in this first book. I'm currently on book 3, and I hate her parents a little less. But like, golly gee Wally, your parents suck, girl. In a post-Free Britney, #Free Britney, as well as a post-mommy blogger boom, it's super gross that she and her husband, Caitlyn's and Caitlin's own brother tell her that she needs to push herself more and more for the good of her career. Defeated that she can't take a break. Oh my god. No, that's all in the same chapter. Yeah. Defeated that she can't take a break, she gossips with the school and Defeated that she can't take a break, she gossips with Liz about Liz's school and her relatively normal life at an LA private school. She got the homework, the boy problems, with all the and all the malaise of everyday life. My God, bless editing Megan's heart. Of everyday teenage life. Caitlin brainstorms to go to Liz's school, Clark Hall, switching from a private tutor and always going, and forcing Lainey to put all of her engagements after school. And then she could start to, this is where we learn about Liz and the fact that Liz's father is Caitlin's lawyer. I am so spitty today. Hollywood secret number 4. Hollywood secret number 4. You don't have to be an actor, producer, or director to be treated like royalty in Tinseltown. Often it's enough to just be industry relatives or someone famous. Publicists figure that out by gifting celebrities' families free cell phones or passes to the hottest parties. The stars will eventually hear about what's being promoted anyway. I'm sorry, I have to go back to me talking about this as a time capsule because, oh my god, you know what Caitlin's phone is? A Motorola Sidekick. A Motorola Sidekick! Oh my god, so my cousin had one. I believe his was purple. And I think he said he had a green one and a purple one. And Caitlin's is green, and I loved Sidekicks. It was the only phone that I ever wanted. Like, I'm not particularly attracted by iPhones. I think they're okay because I think apps run better on them. But a Sidekick, and then you flip that on its side, it pops. Samsung can have all my money when they figure out how to make a touchscreen slide phone, flip phone situation. Sorry. So they're like, oh my god, you have to come to Clark Hall. And so she starts thinking about it. Don't do it, girl. I'm not gonna do it. I did it. Goes to Clark Hall. Like, that's this book in a nutshell. 4. Sleepless in Hollywood. Caitlin spends the night at Liz's to help her plan out her steps to make this plan work. She has to head out to set to film the final for the season finale of Family Affair. She tries to gauge Nadine's and Rodney's response to this. They think it's a good idea for her to get a break, but they don't particularly think her parents are going to go for it because Nadine knows that Caitlin's mom ain't good for nothing except for pushing her daughter. They just don't think they're going to go for it because it might not be safe. And it's like you lose yourself for a second in the starlight and you might not come back. Caitlin doesn't agree. One of her Hollywood secrets will, in fact, just be that, her talking about that. But, whatever. I love how they ask her to role play with her parents, as her parents, and they just drag the hell out of her parents. Nadine calms down. Let's try it. She straightens in her seat and purses her lips. Caitlin, dear, I wish you'd wear your hair down more. It's so in. I give her a look. Actually, Mom, there was something important I wanted to talk to you and Dad about. Yes, Kate? What is it? Rodney says, and God damn it. Yes, Kate? What is it? Rodney says in a higher voice that I guess is supposed to sound like my dad. He chuckles to himself and takes another bite out of his breakfast sandwich. I'm on hiatus now, and my schedule is already jammed, I recite awkwardly. I don't want to back out of my press commitments, but Good, honey. Because that's what we expect you to do. Nadine cuts off. Work, work, work. That's what Renee and Reese do at your age. You can't become a megastar if you don't work your butt off. Nadine is clearly enjoying her role. Yeah, Mom, but... Okay, but I really need a breather too. A break from the scene, you know? I was talking to Liz and she was saying how great school is, and I thought to myself, what a cool idea. I could try something different and study at the same time. Study? Study? Rodney bellows. Why on earth would you want to do that? Actors don't need school. Nadine is wide-eyed. Studying is for, well, regular people. We're famous, Caitlin. We don't need to really work hard. Rodney laughs at that. So does Nadine. I throw up my hands. Forget it. I say, almost mad that I'm laughing myself. You two are enjoying this too much. I guess I'll just wing it. Her parents are leeches, succubus, catfish on the bottom of the lake of their daughter. I'm sick of their shit. On set, Sky is already starting shit with her while they're getting prepped to film an emotional scene, the wedding scene. So they go through this emotional scene multiple times and they work it and they work it and they work it until it's just right in the director's eyes. And then, because there's press on set, because they're filming the final, Sky and Caitlin act like best friends to a sickeningly sweet degree. Hollywood secret number 5. When stars go on talk shows, they usually already know the questions ahead of time. Why do you think Jay Leno or Ellen DeGeneres know a star's just swum with sharks or returned from a trip to the Baltic Seas? Or how they have their baby pictures ready to show the audience? It's because the star, or her publicist, will have a pre-interview with the show's with the show's producers to discuss possible show topics. I like to do my own pre-interview, but Sky's publicists do hers. They do an interview with, I believe, Entertainment Tonight, or maybe Bootleg Entertainment Tonight. Not sure. I have to say, I love this. I think it's very interesting the way that Jen intersperses real actors and fake actors with such confidence that you might feel crazy that you think that there is an actor that is a real person but is actually not, because they say it with such confidence. I felt like I was losing my mind at the top of chapter 5 because Caitlin was in a movie. She's going to her own movie premiere. She's in a movie with an actor called Mac Murdock, and she said it, and I was like, that name sounds familiar. I need to, get a screenshot of him so I can throw him in my video. And I go and I look him up, and he's not real. He's not real. He just feels real. It just sounds real. He's like Santa Claus. It was crazy. I Googled him and I couldn't find him. I was losing my mind. So, with chapter 5, off-key premiere. Hollywood secret number 6. How to pose for photographers. You want a flattering pose to end up in US Weekly, right? You swivel your torso sideways, standing at an angle. It'll make you look svelte. You'll tilt your head back slightly and plaster a semi-toothy grin on your face. It's hard to hold a smile for longer than 10 seconds, but if you practice enough, it'll definitely get easier. So it's time for Caitlin to go and talk to her parents and guardians. It's time to party because she's in a starring role and she's gonna, she's on the red carpet. She's getting a lot of questions asking about her fighting with Sky, but she dodges them like a pro. She goes inside the iconic gourmet Chinese grommet theater, and Trevor's there. I introduced Trevor a little bit earlier, but Trevor is her co-star. He plays Ryan on Family Affair. I don't think I actually ever said what they play. Second, Caitlin invited Trevor because she and Trevor are friends, but Trevor is too dumb, unaware, brain made out of potatoes to realize that, you know, Sky is kind of a bitch, and he brings her with him because that's his girlfriend. And then when it finally looks like Liz, a Latina, is about to clock this woman's bell, she pours popcorn butter down the front of Caitlin's dress. I think it's it's a designer dress, and they're worried about popcorn getting down the front. Trevor, because he's still so hokey and country, he carries around baby wipes, and he helps make sure that the popcorn butter doesn't stir too much. Sky can't let Caitlin enjoy one night that is just about her, and proceeds to go into the theater and be a little networking, little busy bee. Caitlin is trying to enjoy. She goes in and she's trying to enjoy her show, and her mother is just like, oh my god, did you see that? But her mother just can't let her rest. It's always something, even when they're literally in the theater celebrating her newest and quote-unquote greatest accomplishment. It's always something. Chapter 6, the after party. So as they're, you know, celebrating this momentous occasion, Lainey never stops, you know, networking, and that's her job. Can't be too mad. But she finds out that Caitlin's dream director, Hutch Adams, is, you know, workshopping, is casting a new movie, and it would begin shooting in the summer. And it's like, this is perfect for you. You've always wanted to work with him. Ooh-ah, ooh-ah, ooh. Which, you know, kind of throws a wrench into her plan, because she really wanted to go to school and, like, you know, get the fun education, do the fun one. And it's just, like, not gonna happen for her. It is time for her to bring it up to her family, and her family proceeds to make it all about them. She's just like, hey guys, you know, I might want to take a break. And they're like, a break? We'll lose money. Like, they truly are like, you'll lose stardom. I could still go to Clark all of March and April and be free to do pre-production work in May. My schedule would be clear if Hutch wants me. Who am I kidding? I don't even have an audition. Hutch Adams probably doesn't know who I am. Speaking of my press commitments, I clear my throat, gripping my chair under the table. I wanted to talk about this hectic schedule. What about it, Katykins? Dad bites into a juicy crab cake. Lainey makes it, and you do it. She's a machine, this girl. Don't love the way that line went. Lainey makes it, and you do it. She's a machine, this girl. My dad pats me on the back. The more work, the better. Actually, Caitlin was just telling me how tired she is. Liz says, nudging me. Did you? Mom asked impatiently. Now's not the time to be tired. We're talking about Hutch Adams here. What we've wanted for so long. So sick of them. Liz, that's crazy. Lainey chuckles. It's not like Caitlin's working 24/7. She's on a soap series, for God's sake. I love TV, so that's part of the reason I know this. Like, I know that it's inside baseball, but because of the nature of soaps, they film constantly. They film 7 days a week. They film, I think Days of Our Lives filmed 6 days a week, and then would, you know, you get that one day off and then you'd rotate back into it there, and you don't even get enough time to prep the scripts for that long. They're writing it as it goes. They're seeing what plays well with audience. They're seeing what goes, and they just keep following it. There is no break. It's not like when they're in hiatus, they're finally in hiatus, but like they're filming. Like, I think Grey's Anatomy, which is technically a soap but is more like a TV drama, films like a movie where you go on set, you're filming, and then you're done, and then the show comes out, you know, 4 to 6 months later. Soap operas is like a monthly turnaround, and then they're done for a little bit. And the idea that she would say that is just absolutely insane to me. She's working so hard, barely legal hours for a child. If she was working at McDonald's and getting chemical burns, but no, she's just getting verbally berated by an equally mentally disturbed child. Everyone laughs, even Matt, who has no clue what he's laughing about because he's a child and I hate children. I do work very hard. I try to speak up, but not so loudly that people in nearby booths will hear me. And I'll keep working hard, but I just need some time off. I'm going to take some time this hiatus. It's so quiet, I can hear 50 Cent's tune that's being mixed in the background. So it takes so much convincing that to these adults that this little girl needs a break. They go back and forth until Lainey, Matt, and Dad are finally on board. Until Mom, which I think is the biggest leech, is hesitant. But she wins them over. She'll be starting at Clark Hall after a makeover and a deep cover acting. Some deep cover acting. Okay, I found the quote. It was 66. Megan put that in, and you'll know. So they decide that she's going to go to Clark Hall with Liz. Lainey is going to talk to the principal, and they're going to make this work for her because she wants it, because she needs it, because she deserves it. 7. Makeover Central. We have a makeover scene. So her glam squad, Shelly on makeup, Paul on hair, show up to help her find her look. While Nadine is out going to not quite Walmart, Discount World, goes to pick up clothing for her to wear so that she can have a full outfit, full repertoire of clothing to wear to school so that she's not bringing too much attention to herself by being too gorgeous and rich. And even though she is going to a private school, it's a private school that is subsidized by the generous donations of the alums, of the previous alums. So it's less about who you know and just about like merit and like, can you go? Do you want to go? Okay. So they get up. It's time to do the makeover. Everyone's super judgy about what it's going to take for her to be a normal girl. They settle on brown contacts and a brown bobbed wig. Caitlin's mom says some more hot shit that I'm like, I'm gonna fist fight this woman. I dislike her thoroughly, but that's none of my business. It is fully my business. What am I talking about? It's my business, but I dislike her quite a bit. She decides on dressing poor, a short bob wig, brown contacts, cheap clothes from Discount World. Her mother is just like absolutely scandalized by the idea of her daughter shopping at a mall and wearing mall clothes. Caitlin, for some reason, decides to go with a British accent, which I feel like is very difficult. And like, maybe if for something you want to do, and if you are like, I want to bring these people home at some point. I know she didn't plan on doing it forever, but the idea that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go with a British accent. A little cocky, methinks. The wig fits pretty snugly, which is good. I turn around and look at everyone. Well, no one looks happy. It's mousy. Mom pouts. I look in the mirror that Shelly holds up for me. My face is framed with short brown hair stares back. It's perfect, I smile at my unfamiliar mirror image. I kind of like it, Liz pronounces. Very Natalie Portman in Closer. Shelly eyes me carefully. She walks over and plays with some strands of the wig. It's so not you. This could work, Meg, she tells my mom. I guess. She looks at me glumly, and so does Paul. Paul wants her to be glamorous. Paul wants a glamour all the time. Paul, I'm not supposed to be glamorous. We don't want anyone to know who I am, I remind him. Whatevs. He's not looking at me. I'll tell you what, I offer. You can style me however you want for the Tonight Show next week. Anything I want? He asks. Even hair extensions? Yes, anything, I laugh. Now what's next? Well, as dull as your hair looks, I can still tell it's you. The discount world clothes are perfect for Caitlin. Nadine interrupts. We would want her to fly below the radar. If she's too rich and wears her own high-end clothes, she stands out. Too trashy and she won't have any friends. The middle is the same clothes that most of America wears, like me. Nadine smiles pointedly at Mom. That sounds reasonable to me. I can wear some of the stuff in the Gap too, I suggest. Gap ads are in all the magazines. They're like a symbol of normalcy. She could have a rich grandmother who sends her nice clothes, Mom offers. Express, Limited, New York and Company. All dead. I don't those off the clothing stores. This is where the new you would shop. Aren't those places in the mall? Mom shrieks if she's never shopped in malls, like she's forgotten about it. She looks like she might faint. Mom, think of it as the costumes for my greatest role, I suggest. Okay. Hollywood secret number 8. No matter how many squillions you make in a movie, you can't afford to buy a new outfit for every event under the sun. The majority of your wardrobe is borrowed. The only problem is that sometimes you'll go searching through your closet for that Marc Jacobs black tweed pencil skirt, only to realize that you don't actually own it. I also love how influencers of today are essentially all the things that she's talking about are things that I've heard because influencers are, they're mini celebrities now. So they have their own versions of this that I have heard of, and that it is plausible for me to get there and understand it. I love it. I love that. And at the end of the chapter, she is gifted a copy of the script for the Hutch Adams movie. 8. Clark Hall. So we're in the school with Caitlin as Rachel Rogers. Rachel Rogers is was the lead in a Disney movie or something. That was the reason she gave for the name. I don't think I've heard of it. It could be fake. I get gaslit by this book all the time. But she's already coming in late. And then she goes to the front office and the principal is a huge Family Affair fan. And she doesn't really want to do her job. She just wants to talk to Caitlin about the show and all the things that are happening and her theories. And Caitlin can't give anything away because she signed an NDA, but she is determined to hear this. And it's kind of embarrassing. It's the cringiest part of this book is every time this grown woman with an education degree is just like, hey bestie, is this thing gonna happen? And pushing her, and it's like, if you don't let this girl go, leave her be. She gets to her first class, and it's French, and it is with this stiff woman, and she is just severe, and she's like, introduce yourself in French. And so she tries, and she fails, and because she's late, she has to do the whole thing in French. And with a British accent, it's just not going well. But she does pick up on 2 things. A boy and a girl in the back of the classroom laughing at her. And she is fully just angsty about it. The boy and girl end up being popular couple, Austin and Lori. We'll learn more about Austin later, but Lori is your typical mean girl. She's like, already with this fuck shit? Austin, she drops her book on the way out of class, and Austin tries to hand it to her, and he's generally being nice to her, and she is not having it. She's not letting her guard down with this boy, not at all. Not a couple more classes, and she goes to lunch where she meets up with Liz and Liz's friends, Allison and Beth. And we learn about how they're kind of in the middle of the social hierarchy. They're well liked, but they're not nerds, and they're not preppy bitches. They're just in the middle. Just normal girls. That they're second tier on the teen total poll behind sports teams, cheerleaders, and that kind of stuff. We learned that's how we learn about the school being funded by alums, because the sports team is so good that the alums from the school funnel money back into it, so that girls like Beth, I believe, can go to school there without having to pay tuition. Okay, so Learning about Austin. Austin is 16. He's from New York. He's the new kid, was the new kid before her, and he's the captain of the lacrosse team. He's got a younger sister and a cool mom, and he's just like donates his time tutoring kindergartners, and everyone else thinks that he's a sweetheart. Caitlin is not convinced because he laughed at her, obviously. So, Chapter 9, School Days. So we've essentially reached our equilibrium. We have Caitlin as our Hannah Montana, and then our Miley Stewart as Rachel Rogers. Finding herself to reread the Hutch script and work on homework and make sure she's ready for her interviews and work stuff as she gets into the flow of kind of balancing out her, her Hannah with her Miley, or her Caitlin with her Rachel. Very hard for her to balance because no one respects the education system in this family. She is constantly taken out of school and is constantly going places and missing school, and then is like, oh my god, I didn't get my homework assignment done on time. Yeah, babes, I bet you didn't. You were on a jet last night. So, essentially she got 8 weeks of school, but she was missing for like so much class. I would be embarrassed as a parent if I knew my child was doing that. So as Caitlin is finding it hard to balance out her life, her Hannah Montana life with her real life as Rachel, she almost gets caught signing headshots for like a charity or something that she was supposed to sign previously and she didn't have the time. Her teacher walks up to her and is just like, what are you doing? And she's like, signing, I was just personalizing an autograph I got for my cousin back in Britain, because again, she's from Great Britain. She's got that stupid accent. And I just want to personalize it a little bit, and it's Caitlin. And that's when we find out that everyone in the school, including Lori, the mean girl, are all fans, huge fans of FA. Everyone loves FA. I can't even think of we don't have dramas like that everyone loves. I feel like the last drama everyone loved was How to Get Away with Murder, and that didn't have a big family aspect. Dynasty. I think a cult following likes the new Dynasty. I liked what I saw. Go Liz Gillies. She's a bad bitch. So after class, she runs into Liz, who's chatting with Austin. They have a little back and forth, and then Caitlin finally finds out that Austin's just like, yeah, I did laugh because my girlfriend was being freaking weird, and whenever she does that and she gets jealous over new girls, I think it's funny. You can tell in this moment, I think it's a really clever writing, it doesn't have to be said out loud, that Caitlin really hasn't dealt with boys in any way outside of work, that she can't tell flirting apart because she doesn't interact with a lot of kids. She knows what she sees on TV and what she acts out on television, but she's not really knowledgeable enough on the other sex to fully pick up the fact that he's definitely flirting with her. She's just goes right over her head. She sees conflict, she sees red. It is very cute. But, he's, just a good guy, and he wants to be friends with her. So, so he invites her to he labels it as his party, but once you get there, you realize it's Lori's party. Hollywood secret number 10. Schoolwork is indefinitely easier when you're being tutored on set. I'm not saying you don't have quizzes and term papers, but a tutor's a lot more understanding about deadlines. Monique, I have a big kidnapping scene on Friday. Can I have until Monday to write an essay on To Kill a Mockingbird? Just like that, I have an extension. That would never happen at Clark Hall. Even Sarah's creative homework excuses on FA, mother overdosed on sleeping pills, grandfather having an affair, family mansion in Morocco on fire, would not fly here. Chapter 10, Lori's turf. So it turns out Hutch Adams is a big fan of Family Affair, so he's familiar with her work and it's looking very promising for her to get the role. Hollywood secret number 11. Actors don't always have to audition for a part. When you're a big, bankable movie star, like the Toms, Cruise, and Hanks, you can pretty much have your pick of projects without ever mentioning or memorizing an audition scene. Casting agents, directors, and producers will come to you with promises of lucrative paychecks, royalties, and a chance at Oscar gold. But when you're like me, a young star trying to prove you've got the chops to handle something other than teen comedies and soapy melodrama, you have to work at it. So, she can't stay too long because she has to go from one hot garbage situation to another. She has to go from Lori's house party to Sky's season wrap party at her own home. And it's just like one mean girl to another. She goes to the party with her best friends, Liz, Beth, and Allison. And they get in there and they're chit-chatting about movies or whatever. Not Liz. I believe Allison gets stolen by a guy named Rob who just wants to flirt with her. They have an on and off again situation throughout the entire book. At the party, and then Caitlin finds Austin. They geek out about Star Wars because Caitlin is what? Not like other girls. They realize how much they have in common and that their differences, her math and his history, could be a strength. And that they realize that they should work together to get a little bit of homework done. They agree to study together and maybe watch some of the movies together. So she's talking to Austin. I don't know why I broke that up like that. She's talking to Austin. They're having a cute little time. And then Austin goes inside for something. And while she's out by herself, HBIC, head bitch in charge, Lori comes out and dumps Coke all down the back of her shirt. And it's like, oh no, I don't think Pepsi's gonna come out of discount world clothes. And while she's like, Caitlin's like, I'm about to beat this bitch up Demi Lovato style. She can't do that because it's almost time for her to leave anyway. And she just always wanted to go to a high school party. But Lori takes the chance to, you know, be condescending and be a big old mean girl. And it's just like, he's not even thinking about you anymore. He's already forgotten about you because you're so forgettable. You're so forgettable. And then Lori just like goes inside to watch Caitlin on TV and she doesn't even know it. She's just like forgettable. And there's like, also, every once in a while, they just like throw a blimey in there, and I'm still supposed to believe that she's got a convincing British accent. Okay, bestie, sure. 11. Sky's the limit. It starts out with the tip, so I'll just read that first. Hollywood's secret number 12. A star's home is never as fabulous as it appears on the pages of a magazine. The truth is, magazines are so desperate for the intimate details of a celebrity's life that they'll do almost anything to get into a star to unlock her front door. Haven't had a chance to finish decorating your Malibu weekend pad? No problem. The magazine will hire an interior decorator to add the finishing touches. Everything from fresh flowers to the kitchen table to satin throw pillows on the couch. Sometimes they even bring in new furniture. One magazine was so desperate to profile my friend Gina's apartment that they offered to have home du jour outfit the entire place for free if she'd let them in to photograph. She let them in, of course. Who wouldn't? So we're at Sky's house, and Sky's parents' home is like decked the fuck out, and it's giving the tease like she's most recently had a profile done on her. I think Housing Digest on YouTube. I've never watched them, but I've heard about them.
I love limes. I love them. They're great. I love them so much, and I like to present them like this in my house.
What do you do with all those limes?
I actually didn't even know that they were in there. I was giving the tour and went into the kitchen, and it was set dressing. It was hard to just ignore them, so I just lied.
So at Sky's party, not too much happens. I mean, kind of some stuff happens. Press is there again, so she can't really tell Sky what she thinks of her. But Sky's like, why are you always out of the public eye? And she's just like, mind your business. You know, she's got two phone lines set up so that she, you know, doesn't accidentally give out her her celebrity number to just like teens looking to study or whatever. So she's like getting texts from the party, and after a while they're watching the final. She goes back into the kitchen by herself supposedly and gets a call where essentially right after she left, Austin finally blows up at Lori and breaks up with her because he's so tired of her being mean and jealous all the time. She's kind of like excited because now she's got like a chance, but she doesn't even like him like that, or does she? Ooh, you'll never know. As she's returning back to the party, she took her call in the kitchen when, as she's returning, she sees Sky like scuttering away from her, trying to make it less apparent that she may or may not have been listening in on the door. What did she hear? Oh no. Sky tries to psych out Caitlin on the Hutch Adams part by being like, you know, he's really interested in me, and I also have this mini series I'm shooting down in Mexico, and it's like Breaking Bad adjacent. I don't think Breaking Bad was out at this point. So chapter 12, study date. Lori starts her day on Monday by reading a gossip magazine right in front of Caitlin. So Caitlin sees herself on the cover, you know, as Caitlin, not Rachel, and is like, what's tea? And so she enlists, because Lori does not talk to her, so she enlists Liz in being like, hey, can you figure out what the fuck is happening up here? And it turns out that the cover is, why is Caitlin Burke hiding with family affair on hiatus? Shouldn't TV's Golden Girl be out having fun? The real reason she's missing from the Hollywood scene. On page 10. Mind you, this is 2006. This is in the midst of Paris Hilton, Britney Spears showing the bush, like Lindsay Lohan really deep into her addiction, Amanda Bynes, like the real life girls were having too much fun. They were trying to drown their trauma, but they were having too much fun. So I think this is a very interesting subversion where it's like, we want to be so involved. Why aren't you doing what we think you should be doing? And then once you're doing what you think that you should be doing, we're going to judge you for doing that. There's no winning in the public eye. Sky's lies seem to be working on people that are just reading the press, because when they talk about family affair, everyone seems to hate Caitlin. They either like Caitlin and think that she's hot, or they hate her and they can't wait for her character to get killed off because they don't like her, or they think Sky Mackenzie is the good person in this situation and they're like, why is Caitlin such a brat? Caitlin's principal is still very weird about her being on family affair in the cringiest way possible. This little dirt that's been thrown on her, Lainey is concerned. She actually gets called up to the principal's office to receive a call from Lainey and her mother as they all freak out about this. But Lainey's just like, we are fine. We are going to deal with this. There's also the situation of the Sizzling 16 list and Total Teen, where Sky won't let herself be on the list if she's lower than Caitlin, and Caitlin is like, I want to be where I'm supposed to be, and if that's above Sky, then you're gonna have to deal with it. Like, they're making sure that she comes on there first, because what if this affects her ability to land the role with Hutch Adams? Hollywood secret number 13. Celebrities actually care about being on magazine's It list. It may go on Oprah and make fun of being people's sexiest man issue for the third year in a row, but it's just a front. I guarantee you, they called their publicists when the list was being created and told them to make sure that they're on it. These lists are an easy way to stay on the public's good side. The magazines run a super flattering photo of you and write a puff piece about how you're more popular than the president and kinder than the Pope. Paul Rudd. Blake Shelton, Adam Levine. Which, you know, Caitlin is some extent is, she's like, the problem with Caitlyn is that, like, she's positing all these things about Hollywood, but we don't get to see her we don't get a story about a Sky, where Sky is treated like paparazzi royalty, but is actually just like a brain-rotted brat. We get Caitlyn, who is an inherently, to her own point, nice girl who's like follows the rule and just wants to be in Hollywood and just loves being a star. She has conflict and she's not perfect angel all the time, but all these things where it's like these things that are under the surface are never happening to Caitlyn. They're happening to people around Caitlyn. I want to be a part of the dirt. Show me the dirt. But that's just me. It's just me. It's just me being quirky. Austin and Caitlyn chat about Lori and his breakup, in which Lori in fact is denying that it even happened, so bless her heart. But he's just like, yeah, my breakup didn't have anything to do with you, if that makes you uncomfortable. You know, I just was sick and tired of her being a brat all the time. And he's just like, you know what, you and I, like, this doesn't change anything between us. You and I are still friends. We're gonna be friends. Caitlyn goes over to his house to study, in which we find out that he is a stan. Like, he and his sister watch the show together and they're both fans, and he thinks that Caitlyn is hot. Doesn't know that because apparently context and a brown wig can change her features. You know, finding just the right haircut is all you need to do to unlock all your womanly, sexy superpowers. But I guess she's got a nice mom and a cute sister, and we find out what he thinks of her. You know, he then takes Rachel to the side and is like, you're not like other girls. And all I could think of is, yeah, she's not like other girls. She's a habitual liar. She's worse. I love Caitlyn as a character. I think she's very sweet and down to earth. And I don't think, I think if her frontal cortex was fully formed, she wouldn't be making the same decisions. After this little, you know, spatteroony, Austin and Caitlyn talk about Lori's breakup, in which Lori denies that it even happened, and how Austin is just like, we're just, you know, we're friends. And is, you know, seething as she sees Caitlyn hang out with him. But they decide to have another study date. Caitlyn has some other engagements to do, then comes over to Austin's house. He has a nice mom and a cute sister, both who are obsessed with family affair. And we find out that Austin thinks Caitlyn is hot. Not Rachel, but Caitlyn. And she's so happy to connect with him without having Caitlyn's face in the way, that, you know, he can just think that, you know, she's cute. But, like, if you already think she's cute, it's not like she's wearing a fake nose or anything. And your cute is not even, like, relegated just to your blonde. I'm thinking too hard. I'm thinking too hard about the Hannah Montana logic of it all. Okay. Chapter 13, the beauty buffet. More location changes. Wow. Okay, so Caitlyn is getting set up with, you know, setting up the spring fling for Clark Hall. Somehow she ends up being on the committee because the girls who got the theme that they wanted, A Night of a Thousand Stars, are like, no, we don't actually want to plan a party. We just want to go to a party and have the theme be something we want. So as her friends and her discuss being on the committee, they're all trying to pester Liz into getting a celebrity, one of her dad's celebrity clients. They keep trying to push for them to get Caitlyn, but obviously Caitlyn doesn't want to go because Caitlyn is there as Rachel. And because they don't go with Caitlyn, Allison, one of the friends, Beth is like, oh, well, we'll just go. My uncle is the executive producer of Family Affair. They can just go and get Sky. She can't think of a lie to get out of this, so she's just like, well, I gotta go off to go do interviews. She doesn't say that. She's like, I got a dentist appointment, and leaves to go and do that. Hopefully not having to deal with this situation. Hollywood secret number 14. Celebrity events like Beauty Buffet rock, but they come at a price. The companies who sponsor the event will give manicures, pedicures, facial, mystic tanning, a massage, and a bulging bag of products. But in exchange for the loot, you become a walking advertisement for the brands. More than once, I've opened US Weekly and seen my face and picture next to a product I supposedly love. Caitlin Burke never leaves home without her Trend Watch messenger bag. Want free concealer? Then be prepared for the company to say you endorse their product, even though you got it for free and used it once, and maybe you didn't even like it. So, Caitlin comes home from that meeting and realizes she has to go do studying with your boy, Austin. She's late for her meeting, so he's just like hanging around, and he's like, hey, you want to be my date? And she's like, what? And he's like, you can be my date. You should be my date. You can be Caitlin, and I'll be Trevor. It'll be super fun. And she's, she wants to go with him, and she likes him, and it's like, oh. So she says yes to going to the spring fling as herself, even though it's super duper dumb and dangerous. I stuff my books into my black mesh messenger bag. Sounds good, I respond quickly. Then I turn and dash out of the library, trying to wrap my head around what just happened. I, Caitlin Burke, am going to Clark Hall Spring Formal as Rachel Rogers, dressed as Caitlin Burke, while my date, who is infinitely cuter than Trevor Rainwhite, is dressing up as Trevor because his friends say he looks like him. It's official. My life is more complicated than anything an FA writer could cook up. Denim Blues, Chapter 14. After a 14-hour interview loop, she goes from California, she does all the interviews, she goes to New York, does all the interviews around there, live with this, the Today Show, all the late night hosts, and then she comes home, and she's like, gotta do one last photo shoot for Family Affair. She gets there, she's there early, she gets dressed. Sky is there with Trevor. Mind you, they all had to dress similarly to show up, to be in the photo shoot. They're all wearing white shirts and blue jeans. Sky and Trevor are wearing his and her shirts. But, kind of gross. And Trevor, his head's so empty. He's like, does this shirt make it seem like I'm a girl? Because the shirt says hers. I just saying that out loud, I just realized, I'm like, that would make a sick pronoun t-shirt. Just like, she, hers. Or we love pronouns in this house. So they're just chilling out there, and then this little girl runs up and is like, oh my god, I'm such a big fan of you. And again, I don't know why anyone likes Sky, because she is immediately a bitch to this child. And because, trying to give this fan a nice experience, Caitlin overcorrects into being very nice. And she's signing an autograph, and the girl sees her phone and pulls out her phone. And is like, oh my god, is this your sidekick? I heard that you bedazzled your son. She goes, yeah, I did. Give it back. And she yanks it back, and she puts it in her bag. And she's like, this is my phone. And Sky's just being bitter and mean. And then the girl's aunt comes out and is just like, oh my god, not my niece, and I'm sorry she embarrassed you, whatever. And Caitlin's like, it's fine, just sit here and watch the photo shoot, I'm sure she'd love it, from this couch where my bag is. And they go and they do the shoot for an hour, and when they come back, they're gone, and guess what's also gone? The bag. Her phone is gone. With all of her information throughout the book, the sidekick has been conveying information. It's been her schedule, it's been her planner, it's, you know, how everyone gets in touch with her, it's how she gets in touch with them, and generally she just loves her sidekick, because that was one thing about this era of cell phone, is it truly became an accessory. It had, you know, you got the customized color, you've got, you know, customized bedazzling, you've got all your stuff on it. Kelly Rowland is sending text through Excel documents. It's a good time. It's a good time. And it is absolutely jarring. So she goes and does the shoot and comes back, and her cell phone's missing out of her bag. Of course her cell phone is missing out of her bag, because who leaves your cell phone with various strangers? Hollywood's Secret 15. When you watch award shows from the comfort of your couch, you don't sit perfectly still in an uncomfortable full-length gown and smile for 4 hours straight, do you? No. You wear your sweats and get up for bathroom breaks and make popcorn during Best Film Editing Awards. Well, thankfully, celebs don't have to sit in their seats the whole time either. Event coordinators for the Academy Awards and Golden Globes hire seat fillers, volunteers who will literally fill your seat so that the auditorium looks full the entire taping. That way we can run to the bathroom, or better yet, drool over Colin Farrell at the bar, which is what I did last year. She pulls out the fact that she doesn't have a phone, and she's like, I'll find it. And Nadine's like, you're gonna find it, we're gonna find it. Well, they don't find it. 15. Hallway meltdown. When looking for her phone, turns up no fruit. And they're looking for the little fan and her aunt, and everyone's just hoping that she threw her phone away, which seems improbable, but I guess when you're trying to convince yourself that the worst thing didn't happen, that someone in the paparazzi, one of your rivals, literally any of the worst case scenarios that could have happened happens, it's better to think that it was, you know, it just means that your $300 to $400 phone is in the garbage. That's pocket change as compared to how much it would cost to do damage control. Because they don't know where it is, Lainey's been trolling these blogs and social media, early social media, and, you know, making sure that the tabloids aren't saying anything that could only have come from their camp. Hollywood secret number 16. Sometimes publicists, yes, publicists, will play it as dirty as their clients. They'll plant items in the press themselves if it would help their desperate situation. It's not just PR folks who use this trick either. Celebrities, magazine editors, photographers, anyone out to get revenge can dial Gossip Hound's digits and cause some serious damage, which is what Sky has been doing. Rachel has to go to school and is just plain bummed. Caitlin is getting sloppy, showing up in Caitlin clothes, God, Jesus, in Caitlin clothes that make her happy. It only gets worse when she finds out that Sky is going to be the celebrity guest. Beth's father managed to get Sky. Sky seems really into doing this event, which is a red flag. Her Caitlin is all broken up because she hates Sky, and her phone's missing, and, you know, she's doing okay at school, but she's got all this work to do, and she just like cries into Liz's shoulder. She cries so hard she pops out her own contact, or she shifts it, she tries to fix it, it pops out, falls into the ground. Literally my worst case scenario, I just have to have one blue eye. I'd find an eye patch before I'd put in a gross contact. So she's searching for the contact, and Austin walks up and tries to talk to her, and he's like, isn't it kind of gross if you put that in your eye? And she's just like, nyeh, so that she can keep up the facade of having one, so that she has, you know, both brown eyes instead of one blue eye. She puts in her contacts, her gross, scummy contact, and she goes to class with Austin. 16, Night of 1,000 Stars. The girls finish up the decoration for the fling. It's the morning of. Caitlin is given a new sidekick too, with actual Swarovski crystals. Lainey suggests if anything goes wrong to lie and say that she was going undercover for a cover story for Mary Claire. While discussing Sky at the dance, Beth insists that Sky wants to be there and that she is just so nice and giving. Of course, my throat is getting dry. Liz ends up going with this guy from her Taekwondo class and is going to be Angelina Jolie with her Brad Pitt. Beth is going as Halle Berry because Beth is the black friend, and Allison is going as Lindsay Lohan because she's a redhead. Nadine calls before the start of class, suggesting that Sky stole the phone and that's why she wants to be there so bad and to embarrass Caitlin. And it's like, no duh. Sky being at the dance, Caitlin keeps reassuring her that she really doesn't want to be here, that she's probably, gonna be a bitch about it. And she's like, no, she was really excited. She wanted to know about, like, my friends and who's gonna be there. And it's like, red flag do. It is red flag number 2, and it is terrifying for her. As they're getting ready for fling, Liz is going with a guy from her kickboxing class. She's dressed as Angelina Jolie, whereas her date is dressed as Brad Pitt. Beth is going as Halle Berry, and Allison is going as redheaded Lindsay Lohan. And of course, Caitlin is going as Caitlin. To make sure that things are as safe as possible, they have Rodney and Nadine dress up as, photographers for the night, the chauffeur and photographer. So they're around. They get up, they get dressed, they go to the building, and then all hell breaks loose. So I was in shambles. It just kind of happened in flashes of worst case scenario. We've reached the peak. So Caitlin, in Caitlin drag, it goes and is dressed up in one of Sam's, her character's iconic outfits. Hollywood secret number 17. Costume designers make several copies of crucial outfits. If it's something the actor has to wear all the time, they can't risk it getting damaged during filming, so they buy more than one. When you go to Hollywood Planet and see Superman's cape, just remember there are several more just like it sitting in a studio warehouse. On FA, we have 10 copies of Samantha's cheerleading uniform. She's wearing one of her dresses. Okay, she's not wearing a wig on top of a wig. She, put the Caitlin wig on top of her natural hair. Things are going well and smoothly as Rodney and Nadine are going undercover as photographers to take pictures of them and make sure that the group is having a good, safe time. It's all fun and games until they arrive and see some Entertainment One news vehicles outside of the school. The fear is building. She gets into the dance with the blonde wig on her head, and Sky is there, and she could see her tracking her. Beth wants Caitlin to meet Sky and, thinks everything's gonna be going great. And she's trying to avoid her. She's juking her. When Rodney starts to see what she's seeing, and Nadine's outside freaking out on the phone, and now she is cornered. Rodney's being restrained, and Sky walks up and boop, de-wigs her. She's de-wiggled, exposing her in front of the group. It's a scandal. Sky says some really villainous shit. Cute costumes, Sky says, stopping in front of Austin and me. She's wearing a fiery red mini dress and looks like she's been ready for war. Like she's ready for war. I stare at the ground. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. Maybe FA's wardrobe department? She definitely knows. There's no longer any question. Austin, I'm sorry. I have to go. Come with me, I say, quickly pulling myself away. Wait, we just got here. He reaches for my hand, but Sky grabs it first. Where are you off to, Kay? Got somewhere to be, Caitlin? She taunts Liz. Allison and Josh are pushing through the crowd, but they're still several feet away. I see Rodney yelling at two beefy guys aggressively, holding him back. I look desperately at Liz. She knows I want to scream. Sky, her name's really Rachel, Beth corrects as Rob looks on. She's not Rachel, Bethy. Sky sneered. She's Caitlin Burke. You mean she's playing Caitlin Burke? Allison laughs, oblivious to the tension seething in the room. It's a great costume, right? Sky laughs shrilly. Sky, this is wrong, Liz yells as she pushes her way closer. Sky, don't, I plead as Austin whispers in my ear. What's her problem? I yank my wrists away from Austin and try to make a run for it, but I trip and fall over my 3-inch 9 West heels. Austin reaches out to help me up, but one of Sky's other bodyguard holds him back while another pulls me up and roughly locks me in his arm, which is like assault. Like, I will be speaking to the police. Sorry. Hey! Austin protests gruffly, but Sky cuts him off and eyes me smugly. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make, she says into a wireless microphone that the crew members from Hollywood Nation hands her. Liz, I've got to get to Nadine, I shout as I fight to pull away from Sky's manhandler. She can't reach me, but she starts desperately pushing towards me. Let me through, she shouts, but Sky has thought this through. The camera crew, 4 bodyguards, she's left nothing up to chance. The DJ cuts the Mariah tune that's playing and everyone on the dance floor turns to see what the commotion is about. Let her go, Austin shouts at the beefy bald guy I'm struggling to get away from. Sky covers the microphone. You'll probably want to turn your cameras on now, she tells the Nation crew. Then she smiles at me coldly as she uncovers the mic. I'm not the only FA star in attendance here tonight, she announces calmly. My FA co-star is here, she shouts. Clark Hall, give it up for the real Caitlin Burke. The crowd starts to cheer, not realizing what's going on. There is no Rachel cutie, Sky coos. With my free arm, I take a swing at Sky, like the kind Liz taught me from her kickboxing class, then grabs my glasses. But she's too quick. She grabs the wig right off my head, then grabs my glasses. I did not realize Rachel was wearing glasses. Allison gasps. My heart is pounding out of my chest and I feel like I'm going to pass out as Nation Crew shines a bright light on me. The crowd standing around Sky starts murmuring at once. Liz breaks through the mob and tries to grab me, but the bodyguard sees her and pushes her back. You've got to be kidding me, Lori scoffs. She's Caitlin Burke. She gets freaking de-dragged. I've been working on a story for Mary Claire, I say desperately, blinking the bright lights and looking from Austin to Allison to Beth, but my voice is drowned out by Sky. You've been duped, she announces. Rachel is not Rachel at all. She's Caitlin Burke. She's been pretending to be someone she's not, wearing colored contacts, a wig, dopey glasses, and using a bogus accent. She's been lying to you for months. You stole my sidekick. But yeah, she gets bewiggled and then she runs out in tears because she's now been discovered. You would be going to jail. Like, I know that she's like, my career, but also I'd assault you. Okay. Chapter 17, Facing the Press. Why is hotter than hot actress Caitlin Burke living a double life? We've got the answer from her co-star Sky Mackenzie and the footage from her high school dance tonight at 7, only on Hollywood Nation. I flipped to Channel 7. Has one of Hollywood's most loved starlets decided to retire at the tender age of 16? Susie Walker interviews Caitlin Burke's best friend and co-star Sky Mackenzie to find out. Sky's face flashes across the TV screen. She's being interviewed by Celebrity Insider reporter Susie Walker. I've been worried about Kay for so long, Sky says to Susie, her big brown eyes shining with tears. That's why I had to help her go free and expose what she was doing. Only someone truly unhappy with their life would create a facade like that. Why do you think she's so unhappy? Susie tilts her head to one side and shows she's listening seriously. Sky wells up with tears. She doesn't want to act anymore. She's doing it just to please her family. She's not wrong. Watch the rest of this exclusive interview along with the reaction from Caitlin's high school. You'll find the whole story here, only on Celebrity Insider. The phones are ringing off the hook. They are being, she's absolutely being inundated. There's nowhere she can go media-wise where she isn't being fully confronted with the fact that she has lied to people that she now cares about and that she might have set her whole life and career on fire. Rob Seabright here. This is my celebrity rant for Sunday. After Caitlin Burke's startling declaration that she's through with acting, Hollywood is hot on the rumor that the next Teen Titan will be written out of family affair next season. The buzz is that Skye McKenzie, who plays her scheming sis, will have a beefed up role. Skye appears to also have a lock on Hutch Adams' new film, for which he originally was considering Caitlin. That's a radio interview. It's Sunday morning, and she hasn't left her room since Friday. No one's been inside her room. She's just sulking, because what do you even do when you blow up your career like that? Her brother finally gets in there and talks to her, and they share a heart-to-heart where he seems more like a human instead of a stupid lizard rat hybrid. God, that came out a little harsher than I wanted. He's a child. Annoying, but a child. They have a heart-to-heart about how this isn't the end of the road, and that they gotta get back up on their feet and, you know, hand it down, because she loves acting. Not because it has anything to do with their family, but because she loves what she does. And then Lainey busts up in there and is like, yo, we have to do something. So they sit around and they discuss, and they're like, why do you do anything? And she's like, I did this because I was overworked. I wanted to have a chance at a normal teen life. And why would Skye do this? And it's like, because Skye is jealous and I don't like Skye and Skye's lying. Well, what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna tell the press. So Lonnie gets her an interview, sidestepped Oprah, kind of like getting someone real quick to do a quick interview with her, exclusive. Hollywood secret number 18. In this town, you're loved one minute and yesterday's news the next. That's especially true if you're a young star. I mean, look at that Home Alone kid. He was hot one minute and now he can barely find work. You gotta go through one awkward stage or make one bad movie and the town forgets about you. There's always someone younger, prettier, and more talented ready to take your place at a much smaller salary. I mean, she loves Star Wars so much. Think about your boy who played Anakin. He can only get into shitty movies with Emma Robertson. I love Hayden Christensen. Okay, so Lonnie comes in and is like, we're gonna do some interviews. So she gets this big primetime interview with Jamie Robbins. Jamie Robbins first goes and asks questions of her friends, but then comes down, and that's how we find out that her friends aren't mad at her anymore. That once Liz explained why things happen that way. Allison and Beth both forgive her and feel bad for their part in allowing Skye to infiltrate the school and do what she did. Like, Lainey's like, tell the truth. And she's like, you told me not to tell the truth. You told me not to tell the truth. And it's like, yeah, well, that was before. Now we have to be honest, nothing but honest. I plop down on the velvet cushioned seat next to Matt and sit quietly for a moment. I don't want to lose my career, I say finally. Hearing those words out loud surprises me. All this time I was running away from my harried life, but now that I'm in danger of losing it, I desperately want it back. Then don't, Lainey snaps. Fix this. But there's got to be a middle ground, I protest. Getting mad. I can't be the only actress who wants to work and have a private life too. What star doesn't need a vacation once in a while? I just decided to take mine at, school. Keep going, Nadine encourages, pressing her Bible to her chest eagerly. And I'm going in disguise was the only way I could attend school like a normal student. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. What Skye did was cruel. Why would she expose me if I'm her best friend? I make air quotes with my fingers. I'm not losing the Hutch role to her. Get that engine in the full throttle, Katiekins, Dad says with a pumped fist, whatever that means. How do I fix this, Lainey? By getting even. She throws down a folder that says Operation Caitlin, and then we get the interview. Liz is a ride or die bad bitch friend because she holds it down and is like, I told Roberts that you're a good friend and that this is all a misunderstanding. Once the interview airs, they're getting nothing but positive reactions, and Caitlin is feeling like she's back to herself. No more Hannah Montana. Just Caitlin. Chapter 17, Facing the Presses. 18. Excuse me. No place like home. So after the interview goes great, the phones are ringing off the hook with positivity. And she finds out that she gets the role in the Hutch Adams film. There's a lot of gloating to go about. So Rodney, Liz, and Caitlin go up to Sky's house to go gloat about their positivity, about the role, and about the fact that the director has contacted her and is like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna fire you. I never had plans to fire you. So like, if you hear that stuff, tell me. There's also now a new rule that like, if any member of the cast starts telling the press rumors that are lies to the press, fired immediately. Sky is pissed, and it's like, you can't prove that I stole your sidekick. And it's like, I don't need to prove it. I just need you to know that now ain't nothing holding me back, and I'm gonna juke your ass. Everyone's happy. Her parents, her friends. It's all a good time for her. She's having, you know, it's a good time to be her. But she feels like something is missing when she tries to go and talk to Austin, and he refuses to see her. He's still too hurt. Well, she goes home and is discussing with Nadine and all that, and guess who comes to her house but your boy, Skinny Penis. Austin comes and is just like, did I really know you, or did I just know the lie you constructed? And she goes, you knew me. We knew each other. We were so close. And he's like, okay, let's try this. And then he kisses her. And so now, you know, now they're dating. And everything is coming up Caitlin. In the next book, Secrets of My Hollywood Life on Location. A location. She's going to, be traveling for her new role, and how is she going to balance her dating life with, like, this and all that? Okay, I was looking for the last Hollywood secret. Okay, Hollywood secret number 19. It is short, but the most important one I've learned so far. It's simply this. To be a happy and successful actor, you've got to have two lives, the one in front of the camera and the one behind it. And finally, I have both. This is so good. I love this. I think what I like most about these books, again, I know I said I wouldn't compare girl bosses, but sometimes one girl boss is flopping, and one girl boss is a girl boss, another girl boss is an MLN. And I like these books a lot because they're very relatively self-contained. I read this book first, and so not having any of the information about this, I was able to pick it up and fall in love with the characters and want to go back and read this. When I tell you that nothing happens, like all the books stack on top of each other and you could read them all together in the Alpha series, it's because nothing happens in them. They just kind of go around for a little bit and have interpersonal conflicts, and then it's done, and it's done in the most unsatisfying way. Whereas I really enjoyed the character and the growth and realizing that not everything's sunshine and rainbows outside of Hollywood, and figuring out what and who she wants to be. And, I'm sure will come in the books that I haven't read yet, but there wasn't any misunderstandings between her and her friends, that, they weren't fighting over boys. Of course, there's still Lori, but girls in high school are going to be jealous. It's all hormones. I just love this book, and I had such a great time reading it and sharing it with you. And I don't know if it's available anywhere other than Amazon used, but I love these books. Secrets of My Hollywood Life.
Hi. I forgot the TV's on.
I've done so much in my journal since I read this first book. Oh baby, we're past Y2K. We're fully into make bling, baby. Make bling. What's not clicking, Steven? At the beginning of her book, Caitlin Burke is Hannah Montana without the Miley Cyrus. Stewart? That's homophobic.